Hey, what's going on, everyone? You are live with Osiris, and welcome to Feel Good Happiness. This is a show where I focus primarily on providing life skills and trying to help people actualize their dreams and actualize their potential and live a life that is filled with purpose. I also like to talk about areas of life that I feel are important to day-to-day living. And in doing so, I hope that what I say could materialize into you improving your own life. This can range from taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, taking care of the people you work with. If you're in a leadership position, being able to maybe see things in a different light and create an environment in which your people can trust you. Speaking of which, today I'd like to speak about feelings. Why does that matter? Well, the great Angelou, my late great contemporary poet, once said this: I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that is to the point that I want to bring up. Over this past week, I have been doing what we call in the military out processing, which for those who are not aware, that just means you are going through a checklist and you are literally out processing from your base, you're out processing from the group that you work in. For me, I work medical, so I was going through my medical out processing list to get out processed from the medical group. In that process, I had an opportunity to talk to a lot of great, kind, genuine people who I hadn't really spoken to in depth. And I want to point them out. One of them, her name was Faye. I can't pronounce her last name, and I know that she asked that I don't say her last name and I reference her by her first name. So, Airman Faye. And Faye was quite helpful. We had a conversation as we were out processing, talking about family, talking about our spouses, and just talking about life. And you never know what will materialize out of random conversations that it may seem random in theory, but it was something that was just meant to happen. The thing that she said was exactly what Angelou would say, which was people will remember how you made them feel. And I think that is important to note because I've never met this person before, but in that conversation, there's a lot of substance in that comment that she said, which was people will remember how you made them feel, which then made me curious. Let me research this and see statistically how people feel about that. Now, I'm not going to provide any stats because I didn't feel that I found any ones that were current, and I don't like to go too far back in time. But yeah, so to Faye's point, I think that is relatively true. I also had an opportunity to speak with Sergeant Hogan. This guy, he is just an incredible man. He was just talking to me about one day wanting to become a psychologist or a social worker, a therapist. Let's just say therapist. He wanted to become a therapist and felt like the field of mental health was something that would entice him. I have spoken to him on several occurrences, but never in an in-depth conversation. And the conversation that I had with him also was exactly similar to the conversation that I had with Faye. And that was life, family, importance of taking care of yourself, importance of taking care of your family. I had a conversation with my boy Don, and Don, he just moved over this past weekend. I wish you nothing but the best, bro. Man, it was great being able to work alongside you, and all the philosophical conversation that we had was something that I will truly remember. Back to that comment on you will remember how people made you feel. I felt really good being his partner, just working alongside of him and just figuring out things together, and it was a really solid foundation that we had. You will never, ever be wrong if you stick to the rule book. You see, I think when people start to deviate from what the rule book says and they try to be slick and do things do like an under the table deal, and then you encounter others who are on the contrary and they go by the rule book, that is where differences and morals collide, and that is where friction comes into place. You don't want to go into work, or you don't want to go into your home or anywhere feeling indifferent. Of course, that will happen. That's life. But how do you come to a logical conclusion, one that is of honest and cohesive partnership. That could be difficult if you're dealing with dishonest people. On the contrary, if you are a dishonest person, that could be difficult if you're dealing with an honest person. But that's for a different topic. I really just want to hone in on the thought of how people make you feel. Do you want to be that person that, especially if you are in a leadership position, that enforces a culture where people don't feel good? If you are working them like machines and they're just another cog on the wheel, that's your prerogative, especially if you are the one in charge of it. I don't encourage ideology like that because I feel you will not get a productive work environment. You might get the bare minimum. Hey, did we at least meet the expectations of what we were supposed to do? Yes, we did. Okay, cool. I believe that approach can create and absolutely manifest a toxic work environment or a toxic home or toxicity all around. I'm not saying go out and pretend to be this phony person, but it is so easy to just be kind and nice and respectful. Of course, you do need to enforce standards, you need to enforce rules, expectations. I get all of that, but you don't have to be a jerk about it. You don't have to go into work, or you don't have to go into your home, or you don't have to go places just being an a-hole. You don't have to do it. And I don't understand the concept of people wanting to do things like that just to stroke their own ego. It has never, ever, ever been an effective tool to create a healthy environment. It just doesn't work. Yeah, you create fear, and in fear, as a leader, you might get people to work better out of fear of losing something. But what are they really afraid of? That is what I'm going to talk about in next week's episode. Hey, look, I'm going to leave you with this thought. How do you want people to remember you? Do you want them to remember you as somebody who was just a jerk? Do you want them to remember you as somebody who was cool, was nice, was friendly, was happy, was mean, was angry? How do you want to be remembered? Do you want to be somebody who is remembered as, he came and went, cool, I'm glad I'm glad she's gone? Or do you want to be like a vessel, a beacon of light that people want to aspire to be? Do you want to become something where you know you change someone's life in a positive way? We live in a different world today. It's not about being soft. It's not about being weak. It's about being reasonable and being cognizant of your people. Emotional intelligence is an effective skill that needs to be acquired. And on that note, I really appreciate you all taking the time out of your day to tune into my show. It feels really good to just give back to people in a helpful, genuine, organic way. You all take care. Have a great remainder of your day. Thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you next time. Take care.